name is Janel Woodland, and I'm a storyteller. First, check the folks in the back. Can you hear okay? Everything good?
Yep.
All right, awesome. If you have brought with you a magical rectangular information device, sometimes called a phone, please take it out, look at it, and put it to sleep. It will not mind, it will thank you for it. The rest, everything will be all good. Show of hands. Who is this their first night at storytelling? Okay, couple, welcome, welcome. I'll just share briefly. Storytelling is a little bit different than theater. In theater, there's an imaginary fourth wall, and the actors pretend that you aren't there. In storytelling, there is no wall, and you are a vital part of the storytelling process because it takes all three of us. It takes me as the teller to share the story, you as the listener to make it live in your imagination, and then the energy and the spirit of story itself comes and weaves a web between us, and that is the magic of this ancient art that creates community. So tonight I have 4 stories to share with you in a three different styles. We'll talk about that as we go on. So let's have some fun.
Yeah.
My friend Boogaloo was just back from migration, and I was looking for an activity for the two of us to do together. Now, if you haven't met my friend Boogaloo, I will share with you that he came into my life through a fortuitous stroke of lightning. I mean, like literally lightning. A few years ago, I was driving home from the going out of business sale at Bubba's Meat Market, and my trunk was crammed with heaps of hamburger, pounds of packaged pork, a whole Thanksgiving turkey, 2 halves of a chicken, 6 ducks, and a case of frog legs. And I got caught in one of our famous Florida thunderstorms. Just biblical rain. A wall of water, couldn't see. I mean, really, I should have pulled over for safety's sake, but this is Florida, people. I had to get that meat to a freezer, thunderstorm or no, so I kept on driving. And then, lightning struck the trunk of my car. And that lightning did a Frankenstein on the meat menagerie inside. It melded it all together and reanimated it. With the horned head of a cow, the body of a pig, down his back the wings of a turkey, a chicken, and 6 ducks, my buddy Boogaloo stands about this high on his giant frog legs. So like I was saying, he's back from migration. Now, he may have the horned head of a cow and the body of a pig, but his heart and his dreams are all duck. Boogaloo migrates. And so he had come home, and I was looking for something for the two of us to do together, you know, a little bonding experience. So I thought to myself, how about obedience school? So I asked him, Boogaloo, would you like to go to obedience school? And he shot out his great frog tongue and kissed me on the cheek, right here, which I took to mean a yes. So I set to work finding the perfect obedience school for us. Now, it was important to me to find the right school. I love Boogaloo with all my heart. But he can come as a surprise to people. And this was his first experience with formal education. So I wanted it to be a positive one. So I had to get just the right school. So I sat down at the computer and I searched obedience school near me. Scroll, scroll. Canine corrections. Seemed a bit too punitive. Boogaloo and I are both firm believers in positive reinforcement. Scroll, scroll. Doggy boot camp. Well, first of all, Boogaloo is not a doggy. He is a bovine, porcine, turduck amphibian. And boot camp? Really? Why can't we have a bonding experience without all the militaristic metaphors? Scroll, scroll, and there it was. Blissful obedience. All pets welcome. Whoa. So I clicked through to their website and I started to fill out the registration page. Pet owner's name, Janel Woodland. Pet's name, Boogaloo. Pet's breed, mixed. And then I entered my credit card information. It's a private school. There's tuition. Submit. And we were going to school. Now the first day of class was 2 weeks away, but Boogaloo and I had some things to accomplish in the meantime. The website had told us that we should come to school with a collar and a leash. Well, I gotta tell you that a collar does not fit his bovine, porcine situation. So I went on Etsy, and I scrolled and looked around, and I found a bridle of Peppa Pig, Boogaloo's favorite TV show. Add to cart. And then scroll around a little bit more, and there was a tie-dyed horse lead rope, which appealed to my inner hippie. Add to cart. Submit. Buy now. And they were on their way. Now the website also said that we should come to class with a treat that is highly motivational for your pet. So I asked him, Boogaloo, what is so tasty delicious that you would do just about anything in the world to get one? And he said, flies. Well, of course, he didn't actually say flies. He's a bovine, porcine, turduck amphibian. He doesn't talk. But, as anyone with a beloved pet will know, he understands every word I say, and he communicates to me telepathically. So, I went on Amazon. Couple of clicks later, we had us a bag of freeze-dried flies on the way. Well, the 2 weeks passed, and it was time for our first day of class. So I loaded Boogaloo into the SUV, and we drove over to Blissful Obedience. He was so cute. I took a picture of him standing at the door of our house before he goes out, for his first day of school. So sweet. Holding his little bag of freeze-dried flies and his big cow lips. So cute. But when we got to Blissful Obedience, our reception was not exactly blissful. The teacher was in the lobby, and she was greeting all of the pets and their parents as they came into class. And as soon as we came through that door, you could tell we were not quite what she was expecting. And you could see the wheels in her brain turning, trying to figure out how to get from shock and awe to warm and welcoming. But to her credit, she got there. Well, you must be Boobaloo, and you must be Janel. Come on in. Welcome, welcome. Go on in. Take a seat with all the other students. And so we made our way inside. Now, Blissful Obedience is located in a metal domed building. Think airplane hangar. So there's plenty of open area in the center for the pets to practice their skills. And then along the walls, there's rows of chairs for the pets and their parents to sit and learn and wait their turn. So I navigated Boobaloo and I over to an empty chair on this side of the building, and I sat down and waited for class to begin. And I was scoping out all the other pet parents and pets on the other side of the building. And seated directly across from us was a woman who, from the top of her perfectly coiffed hair to the tips of her designer shoes, she was dressed in an elegant and clearly expensive ensemble. And sitting on her lap was a rat dog thing. And it had a diamond-studded collar and a leash that perfectly matched her entire outfit. And I looked at Boobaloo's Peppa Pig bridle, and our tie-dyed horse lead robe, and my Birkenstock sandals, and I nearly died of shame. But the woman next to me, well, she snapped me out of my self-deprecation. She said, "Hi, my name's Kim, and this here's Baxter." Now, she was there with her black Labrador Retriever, Baxter, and he was all wiggly, like Labrador Retrievers will do. I said, "Hi, my name's Janel, and this here's Boobaloo." Well, Boobaloo and Baxter took one look at each other, and they were new old best friends for life. Baxter was just a wiggling, and Boobaloo was doing happy little hops with his frog legs. And then those two boys started to chest bump and rumble and tumble a little bit. They were having a good time when from across the room we heard, "I didn't know creatures were allowed in this class." It was Rat Dog Woman. Creatures? Seriously? Now, as the pet parent of a bovine, porcine, turducken, amphibian, I get this from time to time. And as much as I try to steel my heart against it, I have to tell you, it still stings. And what's worse, Boobaloo heard her. He stopped his happy little frog hops, and he's just there. And Kim reached over and she tousled the hair between his horns and she said, "Don't you mind that woman, Boobaloo. You have as much right to be here as anyone else." And that's when Kim became my new old best friend for life. Well, the teacher came in and class started. And she shared with us that the first thing we'd be learning was how to heel. Now, heel means that your pet walks beside you, not in front, not behind, and they turn when you turn, and they stop when you stop. And if they did it correctly, we should give them a treat. So we all got up, and we made a big circle in that center of that room, and we started walking around counterclockwise, and then the teacher told us to stop and turn and walk the other way. And I gotta tell you, Boobaloo was a natural. He walked right by my side, he stopped when I stopped, he turned when I turned. He did so good, I flipped him a freeze-dried fly. that dog woman did not appreciate it. Quiet, please. We're trying to concentrate. Haters are going to be haters. Well, we practiced some more, and then the teacher said that was enough learning for the first day. And all the pets had done so good that she was going to pull out some agility equipment, and they could play with that as a reward. So she pulled out this big tunnel into the center of the room for the pets to run through. Well, the first one to run through was a border collie named Zip. And let me tell you, that dog is appropriately named. Because that dog went zip right through that tunnel. And we all went, yay, go Zip, woo! And then it was Baxter's turn. And Baxter went gloop, gloop, gloop through the tunnel. Yay, Baxter, woo! And then it was Boobaloo's turn. And he lined up, and he hopped as fast as he could on his frog legs and ducked his horn and into that tunnel. And his head went in, but his ham hocks did not. And from inside the tunnel, we heard this squeal and scream. He was stuck. I leaped to my feet and I ran to help him, and Kim and the teacher came to help me, help him, and the three of us pulled open the mouth of the tunnel and he came back out. Big old cow tear coming down his face. And there weren't any cheers. There was just a heavy, awkward silence in the room. And then, I told you creatures shouldn't be allowed in this class. Right, dog woman. And that is when Boobaloo lost it. He just melted in a mess of tears right there on the floor. And I was so shocked and stunned by that woman's cruelty. I didn't know how to help him. I didn't know what to do. But Baxter did. Baxter came running over, and he came up to Boobaloo and gave him a big old Labrador lick on the face. And I helped Boobaloo kind of pull it together, and then Baxter went into that dog, play bow, and he was there, woof, 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 and wagging, and then Baxter jumped over the tunnel, woof, woof, and then back over the tunnel, woof, woof, and then back over, and we all got it at the same time. Leapfrog. Of course. Boobaloo's natural game. And so Boobaloo got it together and zoop, he hopped over that tunnel, and then zoop, he hopped again. He made it the whole length of the tunnel in just 3 hops. And everybody went crazy. Yay! Well, from then on, it was a freestyle event. Some of the pets ran through the tunnel. Some of them leapfrogged. One hedgehog just did somersaults. And when it was Rat Dog's turn, well, he just ran the length of the tunnel beside the tunnel. And we all cheered. Woo! And his mom did not appreciate it. When he got to the end, she scooped him up and she said, "If you're not going to learn to do it correctly, we're leaving." And then she stormed out with him. We all felt sorry for him because he's got to live with her. Boobaloo and I learned a lot that first night at obedience school. We didn't just learn how to heal. We learned how to heal. We learned that most people, like his teacher, are good at heart. And even if they have a bad moment, if you just give them some space, they'll get there. We learn that even though the cruel words of a stranger can cut your heart, the kindness of a friend can help it heal. And me, I learned you do not want to store those freeze-dried flies in the pantry next to the raisins. Just saying. Ask me about storytelling, and the most that I have to compare it to is the world of music. So just like the world of music, there are festivals and various storytelling events, and just like the world of music, there are genres of stories. So Boogaloo at Obedience School is an example of what we would call a tall tale. Although, I mean, he's real, but... And the character Boogaloo was a character that I developed to participate in the South Carolina Liars Contest. And I'm proud to say that I won. There was a check that came with that win. So I guess that makes me a professional liar. Another genre of stories are traditional stories. And this is a genre that is near and dear to my heart. I love the stories that come down through the ages to us, particularly the ones that have an element of mystery and magic and message to them. And this is a story that is in that class. It is a traditional tale. Was anybody here a high school English teacher? No. Okay. You might remember this story from your high school English, from the Canterbury Tales. And the story is called Right Now. King Arthur loved Guinevere, but she was a mystery to him. They had argued. He was not entirely certain exactly about what. He had hurt her, but again, he was uncertain exactly how. And oh, how he missed Merlin, his mentor, his guide. But Merlin had aged backwards and was hidden in a cave behind a great stone placed there by a woman. Merlin had his own troubles. He could be no help. And so, to ease his mind, Arthur decided to go hunting. He took only bow and quiver and his horse. He left armor and Excalibur behind. And he rode out from the gates of Camelot towards the forest of Englewood. And as he approached Englewood, it was that loam of the evening, that time between sunset and moonrise, that time when the dog becomes the wolf. And just at the edge of the forest, out from the trees, there came a white stag, a great stag with 5 points on each of its antlers, 5 springs. That creature was prince of the forest. And Arthur felt like he had seen it before. Where had he seen this creature? Was it in a dream? No, Merlin himself had had told him about it. Merlin had said, "Mort, when you see the white stag, give chase. All the world depends on it." And just then, the stag lowered its antlers, touched the ground, turned and bolted into the forest as if inviting him to give chase. He nickered to his horse, and off they went. The chase was on. They went through the woods, the horse, well trained how to go over all the tree roots and all the uneven ground. Deeper and deeper and deeper into the forest they went, deeper and deeper and deeper, until they came to a clearing at the very center of the forest. And suddenly, Arthur's horse pulled up and stopped, and Arthur himself found that he was unable to move. And there was a smell in the air. The smell of eggs, too old and long forgotten. And a dark green mist filled the clearing, and that mist came together, and it formed a black knight that stood before Arthur. No feather on the knight's helmet, no insignia on his shield to tell land or rank.
"Arthur, I am glad that you have come."
Now he knew that voice, but where was it? Around the knight's neck there was a chain, and hanging from that chain a green amulet that hung over the knight's heart and pulsed with a green light like a heartbeat.
"Revenge has a heart of its own."
He knew the voice. It was Sir Gromer of the Northlands, Sir Gromer, whom he had bested in a duel the year before. Bested him fairly and watched Gromer's soul leave his body. And the only reason he had dueled him was because Gromer had kept his own knights in a dark dungeon. Sir Gromer,
"Aye, revenge has a second life."
Sir Gromer, I am without armor or sword. There is no honor here. But free me, and I will ride back to Camelot, fetch them, return. We will duel, you will best me fairly, and your soul will have peace.
"I do not wish to kill you quickly. I will kill you slowly with a curse. I give to you a riddle, Arthur."
And with that, the Black Knight reached in his armor and pulled out a small scroll. He tossed it at Arthur. Arthur, now able to move, caught the scroll in the air.
"Come back in a year, and if you do not have the answer to the riddle, death to you."
And with that, the knight dissolved back into the green mist made of magic and madness. Too dark in the forest to read the scroll, Arthur held it tight, turned his horse, and made his way out of Englewood. And when he had come out of the forest by the moonlight, he opened the scroll and read the riddle. And he missed Merlin even more. "It'll kill me, sure." And he made his way back to Camelot. Well, when he came back into the castle, his nephew, Sir Gawain, was the first to greet him. And Gawain saw that the king's mood was thick and heavy. "My liege, what troubles you?" And Arthur made his way to the throne, which he called his chair, and sat upon it, heavy. And eventually Gawain was able to tease out of Arthur what had happened and the news of the curse. And Arthur handed Gawain the scroll, and Gawain opened it and read it and said,
Uncle, it's not a hard riddle. He's so young. Surely it's not that difficult. We will call for the queen. We will ask her. And so they called for the queen, and Guinevere came with all her ladies in waiting, and Gawain read to her the scroll with the riddle upon it, and the riddle was simply this: what is it that a woman desires most? Now, Guinevere had always wanted to be asked this. What is it that a woman desires most? Yes, what? Most. Like most. Yes, most. Well, I should desire a full revolution of the sun and moon before I answer. And so she left with the ladies in waiting, getting really no answer at all. And the next day she came back, full revolution of the sun and moon, and they were ready. What is it? And the answer that she gave was a bit of a long run-on sentence and really no answer at all. And again she left. And Gawain said, Uncle, don't despair. We'll just simply ask all the women. Yes, we will go about the kingdom and we will ask all the women what it is they desire most. And we will take a scroll and we will write their answers down. And after a time, a sort of cream will rise to the top, like the milk in the bucket when you milk the cow. Gawain had squired in the barns. So that's exactly what they did. They went out into the kingdom. They began to ask all the women. And when they asked the pub keeper, as she put the ale down in front of them, she said, "Oh, what a woman desires most is more customers." And they asked the very young women, "What is it?" And they said, "I should like a pretty dress and some jewelry." And the slightly older ones, "I should like a handsome boy to see me in my pretty dress and my jewelry." And the slightly older ones, "I'd like a husband." And those who were married, "Oh, children." And those with children, "Sleep." They asked the old women, "I should like more time and a comfortable chair by the fire. There's a grandchild on the way, you know." And on it went, and the scroll got longer and longer, and in time, a sort of creamish rose to the topish, but no Excalibur, no sure answer. And so when the year had passed and the priest blessed Arthur, he knew it was his last. And when he kissed Guinevere, he felt it was his last. And he mounted his horse and he rode back to Englewood, and again the white stag was there at the edge of the forest to greet him, and again he gave chase into the forest, deeper and deeper, but not all the way in. Because as he rode with the horse, he pulled up, because there was a bog where there had never been a bog in the forest before. And as he stopped looking at this bog, he looked, and the trees around it were walking. And then, from the center of the bog, it gathered itself up into a figure. And whether that figure was made of leaf
or twig or mud or pain, he could not say. Was it woman? Woman? Aye. What curse brings you here, woman? I am cursed by my brother, the same who curses you with a riddle that has an answer. You know the answer to the riddle, my lady? Aye, I do. And what would you have to tell it to me? I would have my heart's desire. Done. And with that, he slid off of his horse, walked over to her, and she whispered the answer in his ear. And immediately, his spine was Excalibur. He knew it. He got back on his horse. He rode deep into the forest, into that center. The mist had already formed into the black night.
Arthur, you come tardy to your death.
I am tardy, but not to my death. I have the answer to your riddle.
Nonsense! There is no answer. Women are fickle, like the wind, ever changing.
And Arthur slid off his horse, made his way to the knight, lifted the visor on the knight's helmet, and whispered the answer into the black knight's ear. And the moan that came from Sir Gromer, and the way he fades from this story, I will leave you to imagine on your own. Arthur got back on his horse, made his way back to where the bog had been, and there she was, leaf and twig and mud and pain. My lady, you have saved me. What can I give you? I would have Sir Gawain as my husband. My lady, I cannot give you that. How? Gawain is his own man. How? I can't give you a person. But I can take you to Sir Gawain. I can tell him what you have done for me. Would that be enough? It would. And so Arthur walked with his horse and the bog, and they walked back to Camelot. Well, when they arrived, as you can imagine, there was a great commotion to see the king safe and returned. Everyone gathered, including Sir Gawain, and Arthur told the story. This woman, Bog, had saved me. She gave me the answer to the riddle. The night is vanished. She would have, in return, Sir Gawain as her husband, and all the women fainted. But Guinevere stood firm and held her heart. And Sir Gawain came over, and he went down on one knee, and he took the bog's hand in his, and he said, I have pledged my loyalty and my life to the service of my king, and you have saved him. And so I would be your husband. I will give you my life. Well, they fetched a priest, and it was quickly done. Guinevere thought it was best not to have a party. But she led them to the wedding chamber, because the vows are just a contract. The marriage is sealed with an exchange of flesh and blood and kiss. And so when the wedding chamber door had closed, Gawain stood before his bog.
And she held out her hand and said, "Kiss me." Now Gwaine had been reared well and badly, both in the same, like two sides of the same coin, and it was his bad side that turned up now, and he turned away from her, and he said, "I cannot kiss you, for I have given my heart to another. I have fallen in love with another." Is she beautiful? Yes, she is. Beauty fades like the apple that falls from the tree and withers. Is she wealthy? Yes, she is. Wealth is its own curse. It brings people like bees to the flower, always wanting something. Is she noble? Aye, she is. Ha! Nobility by birth is a cheat. True nobility is born of action and spirit. When you kiss her, do you keep your eyes open? I do. Then look into my eyes. And Gwaine looked into the eyes of the bog, and there was a connection that passed between them, and she looked at him. What I am is not who I am. And with that, Gwaine turned his coin to the good side, and he took her hand and he planted on that hand a beginning. And with that, the room shimmered with magic, and she was transformed into his beautiful lover, Ragnell. And he was stunned. He had lost Ragnell some time before, could not find her no matter where he searched. "My lady, what is the magic here? Is this your form or the bog?" And she said, "Oh, Gwaine, you have lifted half the curse. And now, my love, you must lift the other half. You must decide what form I will be by day and by night. Will I be the form of your beloved Ragnell in the day, so that you can parade me around like a jewel, but then bog by night I will be? Or would you have me bog by day, so that everyone can see the penance that you do for your loyalty to your king? But then I would be Ragnell at night. You must choose, Gwaine, and you must choose quickly. Choose now." How can I do bog by day and Ragnell by night? Ragnell by day, bog by night. I can't choose. You must, Gwaine, you must. No, I can't choose. I can't choose, because it is you who must live it. If you are to be bogged by day, then it is you who must face the stares of the people in the kingdom. If you are bogged by night, then it is you who must never know the caress of a lover's touch. No, I cannot choose, because it is you who must live it. Is that your answer, Gwaine? Yes, it is. And the room shimmered with magic. Yes, Gwaine, you have done it. Of course I choose this, my true form. Gwaine, you have lifted the curse. You have answered the king's riddle. What riddle? What is it that a woman desires most? I don't know. Her sovereignty, Gwaine. Her sovereignty. To sit on the throne of her own heart, the same as any man. That is what a woman desires most. And oh,
the kiss that followed. The next morning, no one in the kingdom could understand why they stayed in that wedding chamber so long. But when they emerged, they told the story of the curse and how it had been lifted. And then Guinevere thought it a good idea to have a party. And so they did. And that party lasted for 3 days. And although that party went on and on and on, this is the end of my story. And a little bit of water. That's a substantial story. Another type of story are stories called personal narrative. And these are original stories that a teller creates to share events and lessons from their own life. And so the next two stories, to close out our evening together, are just such stories. They are personal narrative stories of my own beloveds. The doctor asked us if we had any questions. We were there for my dad's routine annual physical, and because Dad was 83 years old and had severe dementia, I answered first. Nope, I don't have any questions. Dad, do you have any questions? Nope. So I thanked the doctor, and I loaded Dad back into the car, and we started to drive across town to the assisted living facility where Dad lived. And about halfway there, oh! What, Dad? What's the matter? Oh, I wanted to ask the doctor, but I forgot. What? You can ask me, Dad, and I'll ask the doctor. How come sometimes when you come, I don't know who you are? Well, Dad, that's all just part of this. Do you know who I am now? Well, yeah, I'm not stupid. And he's right. He wasn't stupid. This is the man who taught my brother and I how to tie a bosun's knot behind our backs. This is the man who taught me how to play chess, and not just how all the pieces move, but how to coordinate them strategically so as to oppress my opponents. This is the man who taught me how to balance my checkbook and then used it as a metaphor to teach me how to live a balanced life. No, he's not stupid, but the dementia had taken from him what he had given to me. Dad was born in 1938, and he was a twin. And not long after Dad was born, their father decided that he did not want to be a dad, and so he left the family. And not too much longer after that, when my dad and his brother were still just wee tots, their mom decided that she could not be the mother of twin boys. And so she gave my dad and his brother to the state. And from there, they were raised in a series of orphanages and foster families, most of whom were abusive. And I always wondered how, with no real father figure of his own, he managed to be not just a good father, but a great dad to my brother and to me. Case in point, when I was 19 years old, I went to the Ohio State University. And while I was there, I learned to play tennis. and I fell in love with the game. I played every chance I got. I took classes. I watched it on TV. I learned, and I got pretty good at it. And when I came home that summer, I did what teenagers will sometimes do. I complained. Dad, there's no one here to play tennis with. It's so boring. Well, I'll play with you. Dad, you don't even own a tennis racket. Well, I'll get one. And he did. He went out to Kmart and he bought a $5 racket. And the next night after supper, we hopped on our bicycles and we rode down to the community park to play on the courts there. Now there was my dad with his terry cloth sweatband on and his cut-off blue jean shorts and his Velcro tennis shoes and his $5 Kmart racket. So there I was with my cute little tennis outfit and my court shoes and my $100 racket that I had bought with my birthday money at a sporting goods store. I was pretty sure that a slaughter was about to ensue, and I was right. Dad killed me. He beat me in straight sets. It was so bad, I asked for a rematch the next night, and the same thing happened again. And the night after that, and the night after that. We played tennis after supper almost every night that entire summer. And the only 2 times I beat him were the one time when he was super tired after working overtime at the spark plug factory, and the second time was when it was super hot and he had had seconds of spaghetti supper. And my 19-year-old self was so consumed with trying to figure out how to beat this man that I never asked the obvious question. How? How? How did a man raised in orphanages and foster families learn to play tennis? I didn't ask him then, and I couldn't ask him now. I took Dad back to the extended care facility where he lived. It always made me feel glad to see how much they loved him and what great care they took of him. I can't tell you the last time that Dad and I played tennis together. I can't tell you who won, probably Dad, or what the score was, but I can tell you this, that when he passed away in November of 2021, the score between us was love, love. Well, if you tell a story about Dad, right? You got to tell a story about Mom. Right. You get 2 chances in life in a mother-daughter relationship. The first is as a daughter to your mother. And the second is as a mother to your daughter. I read that in a self-help magazine years ago. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it made me think of a sandwich. I shared the article with my mom, and she thought of a sandwich too. We're related. She saw herself as a pleasantly plump little bun, and me as a peaceful piece of pastrami in the center, and then my one day, someday future daughter would round out our mother-daughter sandwich. Mom shared with me that from the time she was a little girl, she dreamed of a daughter of her own. And here I was, the fulfillment of her dreams. Mom and I shared a lot. I have her eyes, I have her nose, I even have her handwriting. And there is a goofy, playful, prankster place in my heart that I know comes directly from that woman. Her favorite game was to make eye contact with the people in other cars at stoplights and then flick her false teeth at them. Well, I have all my own teeth, so I can't play that game. But I have been known to take a magic marker to the grocery store and draw startled expressions on all the bananas. Mom and I shared so much, but never, not even for a second, did I ever share her dream of a daughter of my own. I saw our mother-daughter sandwich as more of an open-faced affair. Like there would be Mom, and then there would be me, and then there would be like some pets, like gravy over top. And I was fine with that. Which is why it came as such a surprise in my late 20s when my heart gave itself to a man with not one, not two, but 3 children from his first marriage. Greg, Patrick, and Kelly, 2 boys and a girl. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey, that's great, Janel. Your mother-daughter sandwich is complete, and you don't even have to have stretch marks. But I am telling you, it was not that simple. Kelly was 8 years old when I came into her life, and she already had a mom, a good mom, who loved her very much. And I sure wasn't going to put myself in that mother-daughter sandwich. And I just wasn't sure if there was room in her 8-year-old heart to be part of my sandwich. So what do you do with that? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I took a page from my mother's recipe book. Mom always said, if you want to cook up a relationship with someone, you love them as they are. That's what Mom taught me how to do. When I was a little girl, just about Kelly's age, when I met her, my mom could see that I had about 0 maternal instinct. So she thought she would fan the fire of femininity within me by buying me a complete set of Barbies. Now, we didn't have a lot of money, so this was a significant investment on her part. There was Barbie and Ken and PJ and Skipper and all their little friends, and these people were only 10 inches tall, but Lord, they had clothes. They had clothes, and I had 0 desire to play with them. I'd far rather lay on the floor and look at picture books of horses. So what did Mom do? Did she give me a guilt trip because she had spent all this money and I wasn't interested? Did she try to make me feel wrong because I didn't want to play with Barbies like all the other little girls did? No, she did not. She enlisted the help of my brother and my dad, and the 2 of them, she had them build a barn to Barbie's scale. And then she scoured all the neighborhood garage sales and collected little plastic horses about Barbie size. And just like that, Barbie and all her little friends became ranch hands. And I had a great time. You want to cook up a relationship with someone, you love them as they are. And so that's what I did with Kelly. We started by going to Disney princess movies together. And then when she became fascinated with glitter nail polish, I had her give me a manicure. But when that kid dyed the neighbor's cat orange for Halloween, my heart sparked with the recognition of potential. And I taught her the fine art of squirt gun warfare, including the ambush of the unsuspecting adult. The kid was a natural. You want to cook up a relationship with someone? Love them as they are. And that's the recipe I was following years later, when I cooked up the idea of a multi-generational shopping trip. Well, Kelly was 16 by this time, and her second home was the mall. And my mom had a lifelong relationship with shopping. And I had a really good job with lots of disposable income, so it seemed like we had all the ingredients for our mother-daughter sandwich. We thought we'd start our day of shopping by going to lunch at the TGI Fridays restaurant across the street from the mall. And when we had finished our meal, we reckoned that it'd be a lot easier to use the restrooms in the restaurant than to trudge all the way through the mall to the public restrooms there. So that's what we did. We made our way through the tables single file, Mom, me, Kelly, laughing, singing songs. And I opened the door to the ladies' room, and there were 3 stalls. Perfect. Mom went to the far stall, I went in the middle, Kelly went in the first. And when I got in my stall, I noticed that it had one of those gigantic rolls of toilet paper, you know. And my playful prankster heart was inspired. And I quick pulled off 2 big wads of toilet paper. I climbed up onto the toilet stool, reached over the top of the stalls and yelled, "Air raid!" And I dropped the wads of toilet paper down, only to notice that it was not my mom in the far stall. I had dropped the wad of toilet paper and looked over the top at a complete stranger. I sat down, I listened, waited till I was pretty sure she had left. And then I eased open the door to my stall. And there stood my mom and Kelly. That's the kind of thing that'll get you arrested. Mom, I thought it was you. I put my hand on the door, but it was locked, so I had to wait. Did you see her, Mom, when she left? Was she mad? She's a bit confused, but I flicked my teeth at her and she ran away. Target acquisition and identification are among the first rules of squirt gun warfare. Kelly was right. I had made a rookie mistake. I'm just wondering what that woman's story is to her people when she gets back to the table. Good point, Kelly. And with that, the 3 of us made our way out of the restaurant and across the street to the mall. And the whole rest of that afternoon, we would spontaneously erupt into laughter as one of us would imagine this whole scenario from that poor woman's point of view. And when we caught sight of her in the women's section of Macy's, well, they nearly had to call for a cleanup on aisle 3. You get 2 chances in life at a mother-daughter relationship. The first is as a daughter to your mother. And the second is as a mother to your daughter. Mom and I shared eye color and nose and handwriting, but so much more. A deep, abiding friendship and a playful heart. The second is as a mother to your daughter. Kelly and I share no biology. I can't look at her face and see my eyes or or recognize my nose. But when my heart looks at her heart, it sees kin. And that is a bond every bit as thick as blood. The daughter of my mother and the mother of the daughter of my heart. And that is a mother-daughter sandwich that feeds the soul. Thank you.